Hey guys, as many of you may be aware, PlayStation State of Play has just released a new trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds. And in this trailer, we got some more details and visuals on how the gameplay for the upcoming Monster Hunter title would actually play out. Alongside providing a gameplay peek, we also get to see some new characters and monsters, reworked mechanics, and even an in-game aimbot. I want to talk about my thoughts and what I hope we will also be seeing in future trailers. And there's indeed a lot to dissect with the big information drop across multiple platforms. So let's get into it. First things first, Sweet Hamala Honey, that is one smithy I wouldn't mind taking out on an expedition. Gemma is going to be every teenager's new babe fantasy, and every newlywed bride's object of jealousy. The new visuals for the game look absolutely stunning, with beautifully sculpted character models, and a handler that I hope will not have the personality of my parents' cutting board. But they're not just NPCs being introduced in Monster Hunter Wilds, as there's also going to be a new monster roster being introduced alongside a new cast. To start things off, we have the new Doshaguma, a fanged beast with a face that looks an awful lot like something I can't show you, lest I get deplatformed. Let's just say that this person here probably had a decent look at it before being smacked across the face. This monster seems to be some abomination between a pug, Arzuros, and a lion. What really sells the lion concept is the fact that this monster appears to travel in herds. And it's great seeing Capcom take inspiration from real life instead of just putting a monster in that resembles an animal for the sake of it. The second large hostile monster that has been teased in the trailer is the Chatacabra, another beast-like monster that reminds me of a Puke Puke that ditched his wings in order to inject itself with synthol and steroids. Just from the trailer, it seems to be obvious that we'll be seeing a lot of tongue action, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some punching attacks like the Rajang with those arms. Fans of the Puke Puke, do not be upset though, as your favorite chameleon punching bag makes an easy to miss feature in the trailer, shown in this picture caught by Kirby Mania. Now, let's move on to the gameplay. Right from the start, I see that we now have expanded capabilities while we're on a new mount, the Sacred. You can see the hunter firing the bowgun from the mount, and being able to accomplish this while moving is a huge change compared to both Monster Hunter World and Rise, as the Tail Raiders in World only served as a glorified taxi, and mounted combat in Rise used solely the mount's weapons rather than the hunters. I think that despite all that, mounted combat will still be drastically limited compared to combat on foot, and there will be some disadvantage posed for players that are attacking while mounted. However, it is very likely that mounted gameplay will become much more integrated with combat, as we can see multiple times in the trailer that our mount is able to snatch us out of a sticky situation to carry us to safety. Additionally, with the option to carry multiple weapons, such as the greatsword and bowgun combo shown in the trailer, we will likely also see more versatility in combat. On that topic, we have confirmed that the Clutch Claw will be returning to Monster Hunter Wilds, but not in the way that we have seen up till now. The Clutch Claw has been shown to be a ranged method to obtain slinger ammo, allowing players to interact with the environments from a distance. I think this is a good direction for the Clutch Claw, as incorporating a Monster Hunter World made the mechanic feel very clunky for a lot of weapons. Hopefully, we will also see a change in the application of tenderizes to complement this change in the Clutch Claw, so that it provides more seamless gameplay. My group and I discussed what would be a good way to implement tenderizes, and I think the best way so far is to apply tenderize onto hit zone through the application of damage, similar to how a flinch or stun threshold needs to be reached. Another mechanic I noticed is the parry mechanic performed by the greatsword. Without knowing exactly what the parameters are for creating a parry, I cannot give my final thoughts on the mechanic, but I hope that these parry mechanics will not promote a hack and slash gameplay that will be unbecoming of the genre. The next attack we see appears to be some variation of the wide slash, as the hunter performs a horizontal slash that seems to hit multiple times. I'm looking forward to seeing this, as it will fix issues regarding the application of elemental damage for the greatsword. And of course, heavy bowgun goes boom. All you SOS lovers, rejoice. It appears that SOS flares are still in the game. You guys already know my thoughts on that. Hopefully, we'll have fixed the netcode that multiplayer is working from. But if there's just going to be leechers in my multiplayer, I wouldn't be too upset. Coming to Monster Hunter Wilds combat is the addition of Focus Mode. What is Focus Mode? Well, according to this image, it allows players to better aim attacks and guard abilities, and also pinpoint monster weaknesses. This mode allows players to space attacks better, and is aimed to make the game more accessible for all hunters. While I'm not against adding some sort of aim mechanic, which would make my life as a bow player infinitely easier, and I am well aware that I whiff around 50% of the TCS that I attempt. I think that Focus Mode is a needless addition that could potentially trivialize more difficult hunts. I think that it will take away from the difficulty of monsters, for example the Furious Rajang, if players were able to just aimbot onto its head at all times. With any luck, focus mode will serve more as a guide and not exactly in-game aimbot. But my rant about aimbot's over, I think I should also draw attention to the term guard abilities. I can see that guard abilities made a lot of weapons play much smoother, such as the Charge Blade and Lance in Monster Hunter World, as well as the Strong Arm Stance and associated abilities in Monster Hunter Rise. But I think the mechanics should be balanced such that only some weapons will be able to access them. Given that the game appears to aim towards more realistic explanations and physics, it would be too far-fetched to expect a guard ability with weapons such as the dual blades. However, I think that introducing the mechanic is a great step towards a more balanced weapon pool with a more diverse playstyle. Aside from general gameplay and new content, there's also more information on how Capcom is going to be maintaining the immersive aspect of Wilds. All locales will now have two main areas, with one being peaceful and the other being filled with turmoil. This hints to us that the game will not be completely open world, but rather very large sandbox areas. Even then, I think that having such a large area that we can explore for a single locale will be a huge treat for a lot of monster hunters. We can also expect that the regions will change depending on some other factor, thus bolstering the theory that there will be weather systems that affect the monsters that spawn in each region. On the topic of that, when you encounter a monster, players will now be able to immediately begin a hunt, bypassing the need to head back into a town to talk to a quest giver. We can expect to see much more in-world immersion, with players being able to chain hunts and their associated reward without ever having to head back to base. This doesn't mean that players shouldn't, as players will be able to hear their hunters speak with full voice acting. To my knowledge, this is the first time we ever heard a player character speak. So, hopefully we don't get any awkward lines like Final Fantasy X.
Thank you, sir.
Is it just me? Or does he look kind of blank? Anyways, I think that I speak for all of us when I say that I'm looking forward to seeing what other tidbits Capcom has planned for us. We will likely be seeing more trailers at SGF on June 7th, but until then, we'll have to work with the breadcrumbs that we are given. With any luck, my concerns with the speed and flow of the game will be assuaged. If you guys want to share your hype and what is currently getting you giddy in the trailer, feel free to drop it in the comments below. Until then, I wish everyone a happy hunt, and I'll see you next time.